Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I've never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you yet again. This is going to be the shorter daily show. We're going to talk about the NHL and the NBA. Go check out my college basketball show. Very detailed analysis, I think, just to get 2 plays out of it for today. So go check that out. I'll reiterate what they are at the end of this show. I don't think this show is going to take that long. So that noon play that I have, well, it's Georgia Tech plus the points, but I think this show will be over before noon anyway. I already talked about how bad yesterday was and how bullshit it was on that show. So go check that out. Let's get this done, man. We got hockey. I'm going to have 1 play, and I'm going to have 1 NBA play. I'll give 1, maybe additional lean here that I think is a little bit of a strong-ish lean maybe here. Let's get into this. Hockey, first game up, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, ABC, Washington at my Boston Bruins. Washington is on a losing streak, and they have more rest coming into this game. They haven't played since Tuesday, so I think that's good when you have rest when you're on a losing streak because you can kind of overcome that losing momentum. So I think it's a decent spot for Washington. The Bruins are coming off a horrible loss at Nashville, but they are having to travel back from Nashville. Of course, Washington's having to travel up to Boston. Boston could be in a bounce-back spot after an ugly loss like that. They do have a big game against Pittsburgh on deck. They might not overlook a TV game Sunday afternoon, though. And the Bruins are very, very good at home. 23-8-1, and Washington's not good on the road. 14-4. So, difficult handicap here. The money is saying Washington. Bruins are up to minus 127. 89% of the tickets, 77% of the cash on the Bruins. The money says to take Washington as an underdog. I don't really disagree with it, but I have no real strong read on that. ABC at 3 p.m. to finish that early afternoon doubleheader there. Rangers at Devils. The Rangers, at least they're technically playing a road game here because we know they're not good at home, but they did just beat Toronto at home. And New Jersey, in fact, also just beat Toronto. Rangers starting technically a road trip here, quick road trip. Could have focus here potentially, even though they are coming off a blowout win. I don't really see the Rangers overlooking this game. The Devils are on a nice run right now. They've won multiple games in a row. 3, in fact. Beating Toronto in a shootout on Wednesday. So they do have 1 extra day off, staying at home. The extra day off may not be helpful when you have a win streak because it might hurt your momentum a little bit. Perhaps worse, they do have a big game on deck tomorrow against Detroit on ESPN. And Detroit, they just have a way better record. Now, I don't know if the Devils are going to overlook the Rangers or not just because of the history there. The Rangers are kind of the team in the New York area, and the Devils kind of spring up later on as kind of a cousin in the area. I don't know how you want to say it, but New Jersey's down from minus 190 to minus 158 for whatever reason. 71% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the Devils. The money looks like it is coming in on the Devils. I kind of lean Rangers here. They are certainly a way better road team than home team. They're actually still, they're actually above 500. If you don't include the overtime losses, they're above 500 on the road. And the Devils are basically about the same at home. So not a whole lot else going on there. The next game up is my best bet in hockey. Let's get to it right now, man. We're going to be on Nashville. Dude, I found a site that actually gives you a +1 puck line, so I did jump on that at a decent price. We're taking the Nashville Predators plus the 1 on the puck line at +104. We're going to fade Buffalo in this one. Now, I know it seems like the market always kind of likes Nashville, but we are getting them at a big underdog price here, and if they come within 1, we'll at least push the bet here. Buffalo down from -178 to -176 here, but I think this is definitely a fade spot for Buffalo, even though I know Nashville's coming off a pretty satisfying win against Boston, but I think the spot's a lot better for them. I don't think they're going to be in a letdown because this is the start of a road trip, and I talk about when teams start road trips, usually they will show up focused, and I think they will focus on a team with a good record like Buffalo. Look at Buffalo's recent run of games, man. Buffalo's on fire right now, and yes, we're going to jump in front of this train. Buffalo, their last 4 games, they beat the returning champs Florida on the road, beat Tampa Bay on the road by a huge margin, came back home, didn't suffer the hangover spot at home, beat Vegas, went back out on the road and smashed Pittsburgh 5-1. Now they got Nashville, who I don't know that they're really going to pay attention to Nashville after huge wins like this against teams with better records at the very least, but mostly better teams. And then they have Tampa Bay on deck tomorrow, which is a much, much bigger game as well. So I think this is a sandwich spot. It's a bad spot for Buffalo here. They also got revenge against Pittsburgh, by the way, in that game. Quick revenge. Speaking of which, the last time they played in Nashville, which is in late January, they won 5-3. So they won on the road, and now Nashville gets the chance at road revenge here after losing in Nashville against Buffalo. I'm still not sold that Buffalo's as good as their record makes them look, man. So, yes, we will take Nashville on the puck line in that game. All right. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, the Battle of Pennsylvania. These two teams do not like each other, and they're both coming off ugly losses. Philadelphia coming up a 3-0 loss. So, normally I would say, yeah, you're going to be focused after you come off a loss like that at home against Utah. Pittsburgh, same boat. They just lost 5-1 at home to Buffalo. So, I think they should show up as well after a blowout loss. In this series, Pittsburgh did win the last game in January at home, so maybe there's a little bit of a revenge angle here for Philadelphia, but I don't have too much of an angle on this. The money is sort of indicating on Philly, which is interesting because Pittsburgh has the better-looking record, and they're decent at home, although the Flyers are not horrible on the road, but the odds makers are kind of telling you something with Pittsburgh not being that heavy of a favorite, even though they have the better record. Pittsburgh up to -133 from -130, 65% of the tickets on them, only 61% of the cash, so the money seems to be indicating on Philadelphia. I'll agree with it slightly, but I really don't have a strong opinion on the game. I think an under could be worth a look in this game, although you're looking at 5.5 now is the total there, but both teams coming off bad losses. A lot of times that means you're going to focus on defense the next game. These teams are probably going to play each other tough, so an under kind of makes sense to me in that one. All right, as we get into the evening, we got NHL Network, 7 p.m. Tampa Bay at Toronto, and Tampa Bay continues the slump. The slump continues. 4 losses in a row now for them, 3 of them on the road. Bad loss to Winnipeg in the last one, 4-1. Horrible. They've lost a combined 15-4 has been their combined losing score over the last 3 games. Really bad. So you got to think they're not going to overlook anybody at this point, man. They're playing a Toronto team they did just beat. In the only win that they had after the Olympic break, they actually beat Toronto, and that was the last time they won. So maybe Toronto will be the end of Tampa Bay's losing streak because Toronto's not that good. Although Toronto will get up for this game. They're at home. They're facing a really good team. They're going to get up for it. They're returning home, but only from a Wednesday, Thursday trip to New Jersey, New York. So not really a full road trip return here. I don't think they're going to overlook Tampa because they did lose to them not that long ago, and that started Toronto's losing streak, by the way. So they're not going to overlook Tampa. So I think you'll get both teams focused here. Toronto lost the last game pretty badly at the Rangers, 6-2. And that's a bad home team, the Rangers. There, and they still won that game 6-2. But if you're getting the better team focus, that might be what happens here. Tampa Bay might wind up winning this game. They're up from -170 to -182. 79% of tickets, 95% of the cash on them. I probably would be looking maybe Tampa Bay Puckline or something like that. Or maybe, I might even be looking like maybe Toronto under their team total or something like that for Tampa Bay to just stop allowing goals, focus more on defense. But I think maybe Tampa Bay is the right way to still look in that game in some capacity. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, then we have Utah and Columbus. This game, don't have a whole lot to say about this one. Utah's won 2 in a row. They did just win at Philadelphia in a shutout, so maybe they won't pay that much attention to a Columbus team that's mediocre. Although Columbus's record actually looks pretty good, but I still think that in people's minds they're kind of this mediocre team, and I still think they really are. Columbus is coming off a pretty big win over Florida at home. Whenever you beat the returning champs, I think it's pretty big, so maybe they don't show up with as much intensity in this one. It's a difficult read, man. The money is indicating on Columbus. Utah's up to -113, 54% of the tickets on them, 52% of the cash back on the Columbus side. So the money is saying Columbus here, but I really don't have a strong opinion on that game at all. I'm just giving you the info. Vancouver at Winnipeg. I mean, this is a spot where maybe fading Vancouver would make sense until you see the spot that Winnipeg is in. Vancouver's coming off a couple of really tough games where they played Carolina really tough and gave up an empty netter at the end. That was a close game. They were within 1 goal of Carolina near the end of that. Then they turned around and they blasted Chicago yesterday. Satisfying win, even though Chicago's not good. But the good thing for Vancouver is that ended a long losing streak. And they lost 7 games in a row. And sometimes when you end a losing streak, you will be focused in the next game. And the last time they did that, they did play a shootout game in the next game. Even though they lost, they played okay. So ending your losing momentum usually is good, but they're on a back-to-back now. They're playing a third game in 4 days, all in different cities, and having to go up to Winnipeg. That's not that easy. However, the last time they played Winnipeg, they lost to them at home. So maybe Vancouver will show up for that reason. Winnipeg might overlook them for that reason. Winnipeg is in a really bad spot, too, though. They just beat Tampa Bay on Thursday, so even though they have more rest, they could be in a letdown spot after that big win. They got Anaheim up next, who they might pay more attention to than a Vancouver team who they just beat. So I think we're looking at a bad spot for both teams here. The money's coming in on the under, but this is one of those games where I would probably say over makes more sense here because both teams are in bad spots, man. It might be a Vancouver in this game. Winnipeg's a huge favorite because Vancouver sucks. Winnipeg up to -265 for -250. I don't think I'd be able to do anything with the side in this game. So those are my thoughts on that. Both teams in bad spots. I think it does affect the defense, and under kind of makes sense. Montreal at LA here. DJ, what's up, man? You like the player props? I mean, yeah, you can definitely find value with the player props in the market, man. It's just not my thing. But yes, I agree. Like, if you turn it into your thing, I think the odds makers pay less attention to the player prop market, and they kind of tend to just throw up numbers that are near the players' averages and stuff like that. So if that's your focus and you know what you're doing, yeah, you can definitely make money at that. All right, Montreal at the Kings. Montreal played yesterday to a shootout at Anaheim. Now, they're only going up the road to LA here, but they played yesterday, so that's, not great. They did have 2 days off prior to that, but still a back-to-back off an intense game at Anaheim. For LA, they are coming off a nice win over the Islanders, so I don't know if you're going to you could make the argument it's kind of a letdown spot, but I don't think they're going to overlook Montreal because Montreal is a good team. The problem with the Kings is they suck at home, 10, 14, and 7. That's pretty bad at home. Montreal's pretty good on the road, 16, 7, and 7 on the road. This is a game I just can't figure it out. I can't touch it, but the money is saying Montreal for what that's worth for now, at least, where we have 62% of the tickets on LA and only 56% of the cash. LA down from -135 to -121 on the money line. So we see movement towards Montreal And the money seems to be agreeing with that. So that's what I'll say about that. The next game, the one that almost made my card, I considered playing Calgary against Carolina. You know, man, sometimes I'm gonna be on the ugliest plays imaginable. I think Carolina could be in a letdown spot here. They just beat Edmonton on the road 6-3 yesterday. That was a huge win for Carolina yesterday, man. And now they're on a back-to-back. They're playing actually a fourth game in 6 days, fifth game in 8 days, all in different cities. So that is pretty tough to do, man. And they do have a Pittsburgh team on deck that does have a good record. And Pittsburgh just beat them the last time they played them. That was all the way back on December 30th. But Pittsburgh embarrassed Carolina in Pittsburgh 5-1. So perhaps they have that game circled. I mean, I think Calgary's just a doormat. I mean, they're a team that you overlook, especially on a back-to-back. It does mean Carolina will have Bussy back in net here, and he is their very talented young goalie with an awesome name because they used Anderson last night. Carolina has 2 really good goalies, man. Calgary is coming off 2 horrible losses by a combined 10-1. One was to a really good Dallas team. The most recent one was to a not-so-good Ottawa team. Calgary probably is going to show up. I mean, you lose games like that at home, you're going to give an effort, I think, in the next game. They're staying at home, so the travel spot is a lot better for Calgary here. I like Calgary. Carolina's up from -165 to -189. I mean, I would probably find a way to maybe grab a Calgary puck line in this game. 93% of tickets, 97% of the cash on Calgary. On Carolina. They're a very public side. I think I'm going to still pass, even though it's a pretty bad spot for Carolina. I do like Calgary in that one. Hopefully, if you play it on the puck line, hopefully they can get within that. That would be my second strongest lean in hockey. The Islanders are at San Jose. For the Islanders here, the Islanders lost both games on the road so far in California. Maybe they'll show up for this one, but they're playing a third game in 4 days, fourth game in 6 days, all in different cities. 5th and 8, actually, and 6th and 10 since coming out of the break, which is not that easy. So, the Islanders, they're playing a lot of games in quick succession here. Lady Red Sox, what's up? Thanks for checking out the show. I got my Celtics hat on just for you. As a Boston fan here, what's up? I'm still going to take you to a Red Sox game this season. You can hold me to it. I'm going to hold myself to it. We're going to do it. As far as San Jose is concerned in this game, San Jose is coming off a kind of an ugly loss to St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis sucks. That game was yesterday, though, so they aren't a back-to-back. It was an overtime game, so San Jose did have to play an overtime period, but good thing for them is they're staying at home, and they had 2 days off before that. This game, I mean, this is not one that I want to touch, with any of my money, but the Islanders are -133 on the road here. 72% of the tickets, 97% of the cash on them. I think the thought is, the Islanders are the better team for one thing, and the fact that they're a favorite on the road tells you that San Jose is not as good as their record looks, but I don't think the spot is really that bad for San Jose. I mean, sure, the Islanders are the better team. Maybe they will show up because they haven't won yet on this road trip. But with all that travel they're doing, I don't really love it. I mean, I might even lean towards San Jose in that one, despite being on the back-to-back. Who's their goalie going to be in this game? I guess it's something you got to know when it's a back-to-back. It's going to be Askarov, however you pronounce his name, because they used Nedeljkovic last night. So, Askarov has been, Askarov, I still don't know how to pronounce his name. He's their better goalie, though, or he's been their primary goalie as of late, so that's not a bad thing for San Jose either. Ottawa at Seattle in one of the uglier games of the day is the last game on the board here. Ottawa, I mean, they did win against Calgary in a blowout, but Calgary is bad. Now they're going to Seattle off of that. Seattle, they're coming off that loss to St. Louis on Wednesday and staying at home. So I think the spot is definitely better for Seattle here. They got a couple of days rest coming off a bad game. And you can kind of explain why they lost that game because they'd beaten Carolina the game before that. Huge win. So I think they were in a letdown spot against St. Louis. Even though it was potentially a quick revenge spot for them, the letdown caught up with them. I would look towards Seattle in this one. Decord will be back in net for them as well, and he is their better goalie. For Ottawa, I don't know. Ullmark has played 4 games in a row, so it's unclear if it's going to be Ullmark and net again here or not. If it's not, then that's obviously a downgrade for Ottawa. Ottawa's got 57% of tickets and 58% of the cash on them right now, and it looks like it might be Ullmark and net again because they're up to minus 155 here, but I would only take Seattle here, man. Probably on the money line. Maybe you could do like a puck line situation. But yeah, I think Seattle, the spot is better for Seattle there, in my opinion. Let's go to NBA, man. We do have one NBA spot that I think is a great spot. Although I think we've lost a little bit of, value on the line, but I still think it's a spot that you just gotta do it, man. So I'm gonna give out one play in the NBA here. Amazon Prime's got an afternoon game between Orlando and Minnesota. Orlando is coming off a close call against Dallas, so you might get some focus out of Orlando after that, because when you're a team that was a home favorite in the last game and you almost lost the game like Orlando did, you're probably going to get an effort out of Orlando coming into this next game. Plus, they're playing Minnesota, so they might have already been looking ahead to this game. This is a bigger game. Don't know what the status of Wagner is. He's still out. It looks like he's out until at least March 11th, according to this. That's the one main injury that Orlando's still dealing with. But they've been without him for a while, so there's no change game to game there. For the Minnesota side, Minnesota's on a 5-game win streak. They did just beat Toronto. They're staying at home, but they do have a big game on deck against the Lakers. So there is the possibility they're looking ahead to that game, and they might not totally focus on kind of a mediocre Orlando team here. I think I prefer the Magic in this one. The T-Wolves are down to a 6.5-point favorite. They look like kind of a public side, 67% of the tickets. They got 77% of the money right now, but we might see that flip around a little bit, and I don't really agree with that. I agree with the initial move towards the Magic. I think I would take the points with the Magic there. She squealed. What's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Good to see everybody again. Brooklyn Nets at Detroit here. The Nets, you got to question, how much effort are the Nets giving at this point? That is definitely something to call into question. They've lost a ton of games in a row, although it's always in my mind, there are certain games where that team is going to give an effort, and nobody wants to get, continuously embarrassed like this. They played well against Cleveland the last time. They played one of these teams that's one of the upper echelon teams, so this might be one of those games where Brooklyn actually does give you an effort against Detroit. Detroit is returning home from a road trip, and I talk about that's not a good thing, even though it was not the longest road trip. It was less than a week, but they went to Orlando, Cleveland, San Antonio, so they finished the road trip with 2 big games, even though they got kind of annihilated by San Antonio. But the return home spot it's really never a good spot. I always will either fade that team or just avoid the game. Returning home, you have to get back to home life. It can be a distraction. You have stuff to do, etc. And they do have kind of a bigger game on deck tomorrow against the Heat, who are probably going to at least be one of the play-in teams in the East. So as ugly as it is, I would have to lean to the Nets in this one, plus the points. Pistons minus 14 in this one. 72% of the tickets and 63% of the cash on them. So it looks like the money is in agreement with me on that one. There's no way I want to actually do it, but I think, if you forced me to give you an opinion on that game, Nets plus the points would be it. Philadelphia is at Atlanta on NBA TV at 6 p.m. The Sixers are still without Embiid. He's injured. They're still without George. He's suspended. So the Sixers are still this team missing, 2 of their best players, if you want to call it that. They're coming off a bad performance against Utah. Philadelphia failed to cover in that game against Utah. Having some days off. Now they're starting a road trip. Maybe you'll get an effort out of Philly here. They're playing an Atlanta team that seems destined to be one of the play-in teams. Philadelphia, a team that's coming off a bad performance is a favorite. Usually you get better effort out of them. But they do have Cleveland on deck, so there is the possibility of a look ahead here. Atlanta is coming off absolutely destroying Milwaukee. Pretty impressive, because I think that was Milwaukee with Giannis back on the road. So that Milwaukee team is not that bad with Giannis there. So you got to think that's a pretty satisfying win for Atlanta. 5 wins in a row. Couple of days off usually is not helpful when you're on a win streak like that. You want to keep playing. You don't want to have that momentum disrupted. They don't have a bigger game up next. They are hosting this game on NBA TV, and they are still facing a winning Philly team, so maybe Atlanta will show up for that reason. I would lean to the Sixers in this one, though. Hawks are a 7-point favorite, 53% of the tickets on them, 62% of the cash coming back on the Hawks. I don't know if the Hawks should be a 7-point favorite against a winning team like the Sixers, even if it is without Embiid and George here. Embiid, and those guys are also kind of chemistry issues, so I don't know, man. But I do think the Sixers are probably the right side there, plus the points. This next game up is the one that I want to play, and you better believe I'm going to fade the team that pissed me off last night, the Clippers. And that factors in the handicap here. Here's the best bet, man. I really like this one. And a lot of people are not going to like this one. We're going to take the Memphis Grizzlies against the Clippers here, plus 6.5. Clippers, they pissed me off last night. They had that game in hand. They were blowing out San Antonio in a huge ESPN game last night. They had a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter. They were up more than 20 in the middle of the game, and they blew the whole game, and they lost, although at least for us, they covered, because that was one of my plays yesterday. So at least they covered, but I thought the money line was a sure thing as that game was going. But when you put in an effort like that, like the Clippers did, and now they have a 3-game win streak ended as well, but you have a team like San Antonio on the ropes like that on the road on TV, and you fall short like that at the end and blow a huge lead, that is a heartbreaking loss, man. And now they have to come off of that, turn around, go to Memphis with no days off, and they're also playing a 3rd game in 4 days, 4th game in 6 days, and a 5th game in 7 days, which is a rarity in the NBA, but they're doing it because they played the 1st, the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th, with travel between every game, and they have bigger games on deck, a Peacock game against the Knicks, and then they have Minnesota after that when they come back home. Those are much bigger games as well. This is a terrible spot. So we got to take them. And we're getting Memphis as an underdog at home. We got to do it. Memphis, they look like they're putting in effort right now, man. I know they're playing with basically a MASH unit out there, but these last games that they played, they won 2 games in a row. Then they lost a couple of close games against Minnesota and Portland. And now they're staying at home with 2 days off. And I talk about when a team returns home from a road trip, which they did, even though it wasn't a long road trip. They lost to Portland, and a lot of times when a team loses in that first game back home, they're distracted by having to get stuff done at home. Then they give you a better effort in the next game after that. They're in that spot, and they have 2 days off, which I think will be helpful in this case because they had a run of games where they played a lot of games in quick succession, man. I think they ran out of steam. They lost a couple games. I think the rest is going to really help them here. This is an amazing spot. It's crazy. So, yeah, obviously, we're taking Memphis here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get 7 on this. It's down from 7.5 to 6 here. 76% of tickets and 83% of the cash on the Clippers. I found 6.5 out there at a very nice price. I don't think it'll hit 7 again. Maybe it will, and then, that's the 3-possession threshold. But I still say do it at 6.5. This spot is just too good to pass up, and you're getting Memphis as a home dog. Yeah, let's do it. Even though I know usually I do say the Clippers are better than their record looks, but this spot is a nightmare for the Clippers. All right, Utah at Milwaukee. Utah did just get a win to end their losing streak. They beat Washington, and I thought that was a bad spot because Utah was coming off 2 huge efforts against Denver in a game where I believe I gave Utah out as a play in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And then they played Philadelphia really close to the game after that, so they were coming off 2 huge efforts as big underdogs, and somehow they still beat Washington. Maybe this Washington team, they're an injured team, so is Utah. Maybe Washington's just kind of packing it in, man. I don't know. But Utah got the win, and I think that's a good thing for them because they ended a long losing streak, a 7-game losing streak. A lot of times that momentum, when you end that losing momentum, it will carry forward. They might show up for a game against Milwaukee. It looks like Utah's still playing with effort, so you got to give them that. They do have Golden State and the Knicks on deck, so I guess there's a possibility of a look ahead here. Milwaukee, they got an ugly record, but because Giannis is back, teams are probably going to pay more attention to them. The thing is, Milwaukee's had 2 days off. They're staying at home, and they lost horribly in their last 2 home games to Boston, which, Boston's good, but Atlanta, not so much. horrible loss, really, for Milwaukee there. I mean, you can kind of understand the loss to the Celtics because the Celtics are really good, and it was Giannis's first game back, so he was, I think even though he had a double-double, I think he was a little bit rusty. That second game after that, I don't know what that was for Milwaukee, so I do think you'll get a better effort out of Milwaukee after that. That was a disgustingly bad effort. But then again, there is the worry that Milwaukee is going to be packing it in for the season, man. Even though Giannis is going to be yelling at his teammates, he chose to stay there. It seems like Doc Rivers is like, nah, we're going to fix the team. We're keeping Giannis. I don't know, man. But the Bucks are also a double-digit favorite here, down from 11 to 10. I mean, that looks like a crazy number to me, even though it is against a very injured Jazz team. 72% of the tickets and only 61% of the cash on the Bucks. So the money is saying to take the Jazz. Take from that what you want to, I guess. I don't want anything to do with the game. And then ABC at 8:30 p.m. has Golden State and Oklahoma City. And I am assuming when this game was scheduled, the schedule makers probably thought Golden State would not be this massively injured team with Curry probably, I don't know when Curry's going to be back, if at all, and Butler also out for the season. Oklahoma City will be without Hartenstein and Williams in this one. They seem to always have injuries. As far as the spot is concerned, Golden State's coming off a win over Houston, so that was a nice win for Golden State. So you could argue they're in a letdown spot. I think they will show up. It's just a question of, can they put in a huge effort like that 2 games in a row on the road? That is the question. Because, mentally, sure, they got to get up for this game against OKC. Oklahoma City's not exactly in a good spot here. They're returning home from a road trip. I just talked about it. I talk about it all the time. When a team returns home from a road trip, even though it was less than a week, they went to Dallas, Chicago, and the Knicks. They won all 3. A lot of times the team returns home from a road trip, and they're not focused. I know they have 2 days off here, but they're also coming off a nice win over the Knicks. A couple of days off could hurt their momentum a little bit, maybe exacerbate the return home distraction here where they get back to home life. They don't focus on the game maybe. Because it is this Golden State team that's injured, man. And these games they have upcoming are all bigger than this. Oklahoma City has Denver, Boston, Minnesota all upcoming, which are teams, that are all going to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, they might overlook the Warriors here. So I would take the points with the Warriors if I was going to play this. Thunder are a 14.5-point favorite. 78% of the tickets and only 72% of the cash on them. So they're public side with less of the money on them. I think the Warriors are the right side there. And that's going to do it, man. That's it for the extra part of the show. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. The plays today one more time. We got one coming up in 20 minutes. Georgia Tech plus the points. You can go see my analysis on Instagram or on the show I did this morning. Long Island minus the points in the NEC tournament. We're trying to be selective here at these basketball plays, man. Hockey, we got Nashville on the puck line at +1, or make your own puck line. Put part of it on the +1.5 and part of it on the money line, as I've done in the past. And then NBA, I really like this spot. Memphis plus the points is the play in the NBA. That's going to do it. Thank you, sir. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out again. Have a good one as well. Learn to Toad on Twitter. You can subscribe to me there. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. Leave comments. Listen on audio. Review on audio. Apple, Spotify. That helps me out as well. Covered in Uke is my ukulele cover channel on YouTube. You can check that out as well. Patreon.com if you want to support me. And the fans are getting mad at me because I don't want to do parodies that they're making up of songs. I don't know. I should just specify I'm not going to do that. Sorry to Harry Balls. I gave him one cover already. But, I'm going to do some of the covers that people request. But, it's contingent on, is the song translatable to Uke? If I can learn it, I will try to do it. Let's put it that way. So, I'm not your fucking monkey. Yeah, there you go. Tower Gang, baby. You can go watch the, I don't want to call it a Tower Gang replacement, but go watch Loser Cast as well. And that's going to do it, man. Let's have a winning day. Let's get back on the winning track because I think we had some good bets last night with the closing line value, and those just really got fucked up. Like that SEMO one never should have been a loss. We had some great line value on that one and on the Buffalo one as well. I'm pissed. Let's get back to the winning ways here. Enjoy the college basketball, man. We'll have one auto bid clinch tonight in the Ohio Valley. Peace, guys.